You know, I never thought I'd be bringing this series back, but I figured now's the right time. How's it going, everyone? My name is Jay Dagger, and welcome to a brand new episode of Does It Deserve It? If you're new here, this is the show where I take a look at heavily praised or hated people, trends, things, and videos on TikTok, and I ask the ever-present question, does it deserve it? Feels weird. Feels weird doing it after so long. The subject of today's episode is actually TikTok itself. So if you don't really know what happened, there's a lot that goes into it, but the bare basics of it are Congress is trying to ban TikTok, and surprisingly, both Democrats and Republicans seem to be in favor of this. And just recently, the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chu, he went to testify at a court hearing about this entire TikTok situation, and pretty much no one let him talk, and no one was there to hear what he had to say. Hi, I'm filming this a day later, just in case I missed anything in my video I recorded yesterday, which I most definitely have. And there's also been some new information that just came out and some new faces that have been making their positions known about the whole thing. So I'm just here to deliver that information. They asked him a whole bunch of stupid questions too, like, is TikTok spying on me through my Wi-Fi?
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
And is TikTok detecting my pupils and spying on me for those? Like, I don't get it.
The only face data that you get, that we collect, is when you use the filters to have, say, sunglasses on your face. We need to know where your eyes are. And
Why
that-
do you need to know what the eyes are if you're not seeing if they're dilated?
And they also asked a whole bunch of complicated questions and framed them as yes or no questions.
Mr. Chu, as CEO of TikTok, why have you not directed your engineers to change this source code?
Congressman, thank you for the question.
Have you directed them to change the source code?
Like what we are offering and
Yes
my
or
fourth
no?
commitment?
Have you directed them to change that source code?
Congressman, if you give me a bit of time to just
No,
explain.
I don't. It's a yes or no question. Have you directed your engineers to change that source code?
When they weren't yes or no questions, it was a weird ass hearing, I gotta say.
Have any moderation tools been used to remove content on TikTok associated with the Uyghur genocide? Yes or no?
We do not remove that kind of content. TikTok is a place of freedom of expression. And Chera, just like I said, if you use our app, you can go on it and you will see a lot of users around the world expressing content on that topic and many others.
Thank you. What about the massacre in Tiananmen Square? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The massacre in Tiananmen Square.
That kind of content is available on our platform. You can go and search it.
I will remind you that making false or misleading statements to Congress is a federal crime.
I understand. Again, if you go on our
thank
platform, you
Next
will find that
question.
content.
Okay, thank you.
But pretty much the outcome of that is that they refuse to hear him out. So I don't think TikTok is long for this world, which really sucks for a lot of us creators and a lot of small businesses who have built up their platforms on TikTok in a ton of different ways. And hearing about this, I was angry. I was very, very angry about this entire thing because I didn't want to lose the platform that I created specifically. And I didn't want the businesses I follow and the creators I follow and the friends that I made on this app to suffer because Congress made a decision to pull the plug on TikTok. But I waited to make this video so I could calm down, recuperate, and make this a clear and concise video as opposed to a video of me just screaming for 8 minutes, you know? The entire hearing was pretty much framed to be about security, national security, and saying that TikTok is allowing foreign nations and foreign spies to collect our data. And they kept saying that TikTok was a Chinese company and that Shou Chu was Chinese.
Mr. China came to Washington today, and it was quite a spectacle.
When he's not, he's from Singapore, and the company is based in Singapore.
Now, TikTok itself is not available in mainland China. We're headquartered in Los Angeles and in Singapore, and we have 7,000 employees in the US today.
They also said that the parent company that owns TikTok, ByteDance, is based in China and has connections to the Chinese government.
ByteDance is not owned or controlled by the Chinese government. It's a private company. 60% of the company is owned by global institutional investors. 20% is owned by the founder, and 20% owned by employees around the world. ByteDance has 5 board members. 3 of them are American. TikTok will remain a place for free expression and will not be manipulated by any government.
They also blame TikTok for giving its users data to China when the US already did that with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Kat Kamek had also brought up a video of a spinning image of a gun that openly threatened the leader of the council there, and that's not okay, obviously, but she tried to frame it as kids shouldn't be allowed to see guns, and you think you're protecting the kids, but you can't even protect the people in this room. And it's well known that she signed no on a gun safety bill, so
security, privacy, and security of 150 million Americans where you can't even protect the people in this room?
Isn't this you voting no on a gun safety bill that was passed last year?
I found this particularly amusing as the mother of a 4-year-old child who very recently had to do his very first active shooter drill at his preschool. The bodies of literal dead children are at their feet and they cannot be bothered to care because the NRA pays them not to.
Children are being mowed down by AR-15s, and our politicians can only gather support, bipartisan support, to ban the app, but they can't gather bipartisan support to ban a gun that is known for killing kids day in and day out when they just going to the school trying to learn.
I don't think it's a left side of the aisle or right side of the aisle type issue. It's a free speech issue which affects all of us. Let me go ahead and say this. Those congressmen and congresswomen, they don't give a fuck about me and you. You know what they care about? Lining their pockets with lobbying money. If they did really care about the American people, you know what they'd be focusing their efforts on? The fentanyl problem in this country, the opioid epidemic in this country, sexual exploitation of children in this country, child trafficking in this country, school violence in this country. But you know why they ain't making that their problem? Because they ain't getting money from lobbyists to make it their problem.
Y'all not angry enough for me. Our government is the goddamn Twix company, and it took y'all till 2023 to realize it? Jasmine, what do you mean? Y'all remember when they came out with left Twix, right Twix, had bitches talking about, I swear to God, the right one tastes different. No, it doesn't. It's the illusion of choice. It makes you believe that you have a decision in something that was already decided upon. The whole point of left and right is so the government as a whole can do what the fuck it wants, but the people have somebody to blame.
The real reason that politicians will offer thoughts and prayers to victims and their families after a massive tragedy is because that takes significantly less effort than stopping the problem at its source.
Also, Kat Kamek thought she had a gotcha moment with Shochu because he couldn't answer a question that she had framed in a very strange way, and they wouldn't let him speak, and they just moved on.
We have a U.S. representative who puts out a tweet that is a blatant lie and then puts out a video with that blatant lie that proves that she's fucking lying and then just goes about her day like nothing fucking happened. The tweet reads, the TikTok CEO couldn't even address a direct death threat to the chairwoman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. Here's him addressing it.
Committee or the 150 million users of your app, because it is an extension of the CCP. And with that, I yield back.
Can I respond, Chair?
No, we're gonna
No.
There was some good discourse in there, like why does TikTok keep suppressing videos from Black creators and other creators of color, and how many Spanish-speaking people actually work at, ByteDance or TikTok itself.
For example, I was disturbed by reports that TikTok content moderation algorithm flagged words like Black or Black Lives Matter as inappropriate content. So my first question, Mr. Chu, is do you agree that platforms like TikTok should be subject to regular audits or transparency requirements to identify whether policies have a disparate impact on communities that are protected classes like race, religion, national origin, or gender?
I think, Congresswoman, I think platforms should be very transparent. You can come and say whatever you want, as long as you don't violate the rules of safety that were put in place.
If TikTok's algorithm is flagging content incorrectly, resulting in creators violating community guidelines when in fact they have not, those creators would not be eligible to receive compensation under the Creator Fund, correct?
We do have an appeals process.
You have an appeals process, okay.
Yes.
In my view, if TikTok employs algorithms that disproportionately remove content from Black creators, it disproportionately silences and excludes Black creators from compensation opportunities. And this problem happens in parallel to the lack of adequate recognition, attribution, and compensation to Black creatives for their content. The exploitation, cultural misappropriations, the erasure of Black creatives' ownership of their fashion, art, and media is nothing new. We need transparency, accountability, and bold action to mitigate against misinformation, bias, and exclusion of certain communities from the opportunities present on platforms like TikTok. So let me just say this. I'm concerned about transparency. I am concerned about algorithmic accountability. And I'm not clear that your organization holds those values.
That in and of itself is good discourse, don't get me wrong, but it's drowned in a sea of stupid questions and wrong assumptions. I also wanted to point out that there was some good to come out of this because Mr. Jamal Bowman and Mr. Jeff Jackson have been very big advocates against this TikTok ban.
So this is a rush to judgment without having a larger conversation around the harms of social media in general. Our data right now on Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Twitter, Instagram, our data right now is available for purchase, for sale, for trading, and it is currently being shared with foreign governments and foreign companies without our consent, without our knowledge. So let's talk about all social media companies, what the harms are, and then write federal legislation to deal with those issues instead of scapegoating TikTok. However, there is evidence to support and show that Facebook looked the other way while Russia interfered in our 2016 election. There is evidence to show that the Myanmar genocide was mainly facilitated through Facebook. There's evidence to show Donald Trump using Twitter to help incite and inspire an insurrection. There's consistent misinformation and disinformation on all American social media, and there's also data brokers constantly selling our data. If you were to ban TikTok, these things will still be taking place, and we would still be unsafe and insecure. Data brokers can sell our data to the Chinese government and Chinese corporations without TikTok even existing. So again, let's broaden the conversation. 150 million Americans are on TikTok. They use it for entertainment, they use it for education, they use it to be a part of a community, not for nefarious reasons. So let's have a broader conversation about data privacy and security, which we should have, as opposed to this one-sided conversation while letting Facebook and these other American companies off the hook.
I've only been in Congress for a few months, but I have never seen a congressional hearing like the one we had on TikTok this week. It was brutal. Some of the questions were good, and some definitely were not. And the majority of complaints that were raised apply to practically all social media platforms. All the concerns about declining mental health, especially for teenagers, about the addictive nature of the platform, and about the sheer volume of data that's getting sucked up, which are all valid concerns, apply to many other platforms as well. Here's what's actually happening. It's been Congress's failure to pass a data privacy law, which it should have passed years ago, that's gotten us into this situation. And this week, TikTok became the symbol for a lot of general concern. There is a specific concern with TikTok about the potential for data access or algorithm influence in the hands of an adversarial government. The issue that keeps coming up is a law in China that was put in place about 6 years ago that was designed to give its intelligence operations a lot more power. What it basically says is that if Chinese intelligence services tell TikTok that they have to hand over all of your data, then they have to do it, and they don't have to tell you that they did it. When this came up at the hearing, the CEO basically agreed that that's what the law says. Many bills have been filed in the last few weeks, but the biggest one would tell the Commerce Department to create a framework for assessing and responding to the risks posed by apps that are owned by foreign governments. It might be several months before we have a sense of what's going to happen next. There's a lot of anger and a lot of disagreement, but I think we can use this moment to produce at least one clear point of consensus moving forward. We need a data privacy law that will protect us from all internet companies and all social media platforms, not just the ones that are owned by foreign governments.
And I gotta say, I'm truly thankful that some people in that Congress have a brain. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she is also advocating for TikTok to not be banned, and she made an entire video expressing why it's a bad idea and what the threat actually is.
So why would we be proposing a ban regarding such a significant issue without being clued in on this at all? It just doesn't feel right to me.
Some new information that came out recently was about this website called Capital Trades, which you can search the representatives on there and actually see what stocks they've invested in.
This website is called Capital Trades. You can go down and click politicians, and you can enter the name of any of the politicians that you saw asking questions today and see what they invest in. Like Dan Crenshaw. Representative Crenshaw was one of the more belligerent members today of the committee. But I think it's understandable when you see what he invests in Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, all companies that stand to benefit from this TikTok ban.
And speaking of money, there was a huge lobbying effort around this whole hearing. And that's one of the reasons I don't take corporate donations. Not from TikTok, not from Facebook, not from any corporation. And that's why I don't own any individual stocks as a member of Congress. And it's why I walked you through all of my personal finances in a video about 2 months ago. I've taken those steps so that in moments like this, I can just level with you and be transparent about where things stand. And frankly, I don't have to worry about the influence of corporate money because I don't take it.
Some new information that also just came out was a bill called Bill S686, which pretty much determines that if the bill is passed, the government will be able to take anything off the internet if they deem it inappropriate, as long as it has something to do with the internet.
Foreign adversaries can change by definition, but a few are already listed. They are the People's Republic of China, including Hong Kong, Special Administration Region, the Republic of Cuba, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and of course, the Russian Federation and Venezuela under the regime of Nicolas Maduro Moros. Using VPNs to bypass banned apps such as TikTok is made a criminal act under this bill. And the penalty? It's a minimum imprisonment of 20 years and a minimum fine of $250,000 or $1 million, depending if you knowingly did so to access banned content. The bill gives the federal government the power to monitor any activity used by these suspected devices, virtual or otherwise. Essentially, they can monitor what you are doing at home 24/7 without even informing you. This includes things such as routers, video games, streaming apps, smart thermostats, Ring cameras, basically anything that uses the internet. Now, the real terrifying part of all of this, as if that all wasn't terrifying enough, is that the bill goes on to state that this will happen by the president appointing a secretary of communication. That secretary then forms a group on their own without any voter input whatsoever. They can ban and deem anything inappropriate or a risk to security at any moment in time. And if they do, they can go through your instant messages, your emails, text, basically anything that uses the internet, and they can censor it.
And you know what that reminds me of? Book burnings. So therefore, comparatively, the government is trying to do an internet version of what that certain German group did in the 30s. Am I getting that right? It seems like I'm getting that right. This has gone beyond just banning TikTok at this point. Now, if this new bill is passed, the government could have a chokehold on what it determines appropriate for the internet. Therefore, it can take out bits and pieces of information that it doesn't want the public to see. Because TikTok in and of itself has become a big information pool where someone like me, a person with 75,000 followers, who used to not have a platform, now has a platform to speak his mind freely. And Congress doesn't want that to happen.
TikTok is bad, sure. So one of the bills that would ban TikTok is being pushed, as we said, by senators in both parties. It's called the Restrict Act. This isn't about banning TikTok. Instead, this bill would give enormous and terrifying new powers to the federal government. The bill would regulate, quote, certain transactions between persons in the United States and foreign adversaries. And the mitigation measures include, but are not limited to, throwing American citizens in prison for 20 years. This is not an effort to push back against China. It's part of a strategy to make America much more like China, with the government in charge of what you read and see, and with terrifying punitive powers at their fingertips. This bill isn't really about banning TikTok. It's never about what they say it is. This is about introducing flat-out totalitarianism into our system.
And you might be wondering, is there a way we can potentially stop this ban? There might be one: contacting your representative. Your representative is in Congress, so they should have a say in what happens with the ban. In regards to contacting them, you're going to want to be calm, cool, and collected, and pretty much tell them why you're against this TikTok ban and the ways that TikTok has affected you positively in life. And on top of that, you're going to want to threaten them politically, not with violence, but politically. You can tell them if they follow through on this TikTok ban, you can tell them that you are no longer going to be supporting them and you will instead back their competitors and opponents in the primaries. You have to specify in the primaries, though, because that's the one that matters. And while technically speaking, they don't have to do what you say, it'd be really stupid not to if they end up losing your votes over this. And if enough people do that, maybe we can get a few Congress people on our side. You're going to want to do this, especially if your congressperson is one of these people. If it's one of these people, you're most definitely going to want to do this because they were the ones advocating for the TikTok ban the most. If enough people politically threaten these representatives, they either, one, have to do what we say because it'd be really stupid not to, or two, they're going to lose their jobs and we will have the opportunity to elect someone better. It's a win-win is what I'm saying. There's obviously a lot more coming out about the situation, and there's definitely a lot of stuff that I missed, but all of it is relevant to the current issue at hand. And to kind of end this off here, TikTok gave me a voice when I didn't have one. And it helped me get more comfortable with my voice when I started using it more. And it's given me a platform to not only exercise my talents, but to sit down and talk with you all. And it's given me an audience that I could not be more thankful for. 75,000 people like me. You all like me. And I couldn't be here without you all, and I couldn't have gotten you all without TikTok. And I know that I bitch and I moan about this, that, and the third on this app, but all of that is minuscule. Every little complaint is so minuscule compared to the amount of blessings that this app has given me. In case this app ends, in case this app meets its untimely demise, thank you, all of you. Without you, I couldn't be here making this video. Does It Deserve It wouldn't be as popular as it was. My music wouldn't be as popular as it was. I wouldn't have had the confidence to keep going without you guys. It means a lot to me. It really does. And if it does meet its end, I know you'll find me again. I am available on the Red app and on the Picture app, but I'm hoping to keep going on here. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I've been Jay Dagger, and does TikTok deserve to be banned? No, it doesn't.